Hello, hello, everyone. Hello, hello. JLR Investigates. Come on in, everyone. I got some new information. I've been digging in on this John Turscak guy. Turscak, the stabber. The stabber of Derek Chauvin. I think I said in my last live Chauvin. Chauvin. Derek Chauvin, the disgraced ex Minneapolis cop, stabbed 22 times in Tucson by a FBI informant. And guess what? I've been scouring over the court docket search on Pacer, right? And I found a habeas corpus petition that this guy, the stabber, has filed years ago. And he says a lot in this petition. He says a lot. And he describes the irony in this. I'm going to share what he wrote in his own handwriting. This is his handwriting, folks, and it's long. It is long. And this is this guy's handwriting, John. Let me just zoom this in and show you something here. But down there, look, John Turscak, petitioner. 28 U.S.C. 2241 habeas corpus. But he says a lot about prison conditions. We're going to talk about this guy, right? Come on in. JLR Investigates. I get the goods. I've been digging in on this guy extensively, and we're going to learn more about this guy. We're going to learn about this guy's mind. This is the guy that stabbed Derek Chauvin. We say no to violence on JLR Investigates, but we are covering the case. He filed a petition. In the Western or Central District of California. He's originally from California. He got sentenced to 30 years. This is a petition, and I got this off the Pacer system. This is a petition he filed against the former director of the Bureau of the Prisons way back in 2005. This is an 2005 filing, right? It does say a lot, but let me just keep you guys up to speed. I'm going to read it. I was reading over it, and I was just the irony. Let me just say the irony on this. Just so people are up to speed. Derek Chauvin's stabber has been identified by the press earlier this evening. He's been indicted. He's been indicted for attempted murder, MURDER. We read on my last live, I'll just show you real quick so you guys can see. We read this on the last live that I just did. Specifics of what he did. Specifics. This is the indictment against John Turscak, 52 years old. He caught Derek Chauvin in the law library at Tucson and wanted to do what he did to Chauvin because he said it was on Black Friday and in solidarity with Black Lives Matter. And the black hand symbol on the Black Lives Matter is a reasoning for him to do this, plus the notoriety. Now, he did say he didn't want to kill him, but kind of said that, if the authorities didn't intervene and stop it, he would have done it. 22 times, folks. We thought when we heard that Derek Chauvin got stabbed, we didn't know. We thought maybe it was just a push, a poke in him, a poke or two, but 22 times. And I'm shocked that Chauvin was able to survive, right? So this guy's been charged, right? And who is this guy? Who is this John Turscak guy, 52? Right now, I haven't found a picture of him yet, but I'm starting to paint the picture on who this guy is. An old article was out about his case way back in 2001. He is a former FBI informant, and he even identifies himself as a FBI informant in these court dockets, in these court filings that I have, and I'm going to read you. I don't think he's on Google yet. They have other images of other people, but I don't believe they have his photograph out there yet. I don't think Saffron, it's him. I know what you're talking about because if you Google him right now, let me just see, let me make sure. Let me put in the Google. I'll just put in right now. Put his name. See, if you put his name in the Google search, I don't see anything of him yet. There's nothing of him yet. Nothing of him yet on the Google search. So, they got other pictures of other people, but they're not the same. They're kind of like, other people's photos in relation to other articles that's attached to the site, but he's not listed, folks. because I want to see who this guy is, because this guy is scheduled to get released from prison in 2026. I find it kind of odd, strange, and peculiar that he would do this right before he gets released. And according to the BOP website, his scheduled release date is in 2026. He's 52 years old, listed. Come on in. We're going to talk about this guy, and we're going to read the court documents together. We're going to get some insight and information about this guy, who is John Turscak, FBI informant. So he's known as an FBI. Yeah, and somebody said to Quentin, you said a great point. Feds undercovers won't pop up on Google. That's a good point. Maybe why his image is not out there, because, you know, the feds kind of protect the FBI. But I'm about to show you a court document, and it doesn't seem like he's being protective in prison, because he filed a habeas corpus. I don't know if you guys know what a habeas corpus is, but it's challenging the execution of your sentence. And I'm going to read you what the courts said, and then I'm going to read you what he said in his own writing. It's his own handwriting. So this was a habeas corpus that he filed back in 2005. He filed this back in 2005, right? And it says John Turscak versus Henry Lappin. It's actually, his name was Harley Lappin. I don't know why they put Henry Lappin. Maybe his first name was Henry. That was the former Bureau of Prison director after Catherine Sawyer Hawk. Order transferring petition to the Northern District of Georgia. This constitutes notice of entry. So it says the present petition for federal habeas corpus relief under 28 U.S.C. 2241 was filed on February 7th, 2005. Pro se, filed it himself, petitioner John Turscak is a petitioner in federal custody pursuant to a 2001 conviction in this court. However, the present petition does not challenge petition's conviction or sentence. Instead, it challenges the legality of the conditions on which the petitioner is incarcerated. Petitioner claims that certain aspects of his incarceration illegally expose him to harm from other inmates in violation of Bureau of Prison regulations and petitioner's constitutional rights. He is, and was at the time of the filing of this action, in custody at the United States Penitentiary in Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta is in the Atlanta Division of the Northern District of Georgia. A habeas corpus petition under 28 U.S.C. 2241 may be filed in a federal district which has personal jurisdiction over the respondent, the person having custody of the petitioner. In general, this will be the district in which the petition is in custody. So they basically transferred, look at this, petitioner has present no basis for 2241 in custody jurisdiction in this court. Although petitioner was convicted and sentenced in this district, the petition does not challenge his conviction. Petitioner is not in actual custody in this district. He has not suggested any reason for finding that it is in constructive custody here. On the other hand, petitioner is in actual custody in Georgia, and the events on which his claims are based are alleged to have occurred there. Furthermore, it is probable that the proper respondent in this action would be an officer with a more immediate custody of the petitioner, such as the warden at USP Atlanta, over whom a federal district court in Georgia would have personal jurisdiction, while this court would not. On the other hand, the two districts would appear to have an equal claim to personal jurisdiction over the presently named respondent, the director of prisons. According to the petition, the present petition properly belongs in the district in which the petitioner is incarcerated. So they transferred it. So he was complaining, right? So why would an informant, a federal informant, complain about his conditions or what he's subjected to? Well, I'm about to show you, because inmates are not happy with this guy. And what we're going to do, folks, is we're going to read his complaint in his own handwriting. This is his own handwriting. This is the handwriting of the guy that stabbed Derek Chauvin. Right? I'm going to blow it up so we can kind of just see here. And I'm going to read through all this. But I'm actually going to put the phone down so you guys can see me. And then we're going to read this, right? Supporting facts. And then we're going to read what he had to say. Let's read his allegations. So I'm going to read this to you. Okay? I'm going to read this to you. And this is what he says. BOP officials continue to place my life in imminent danger by housing me at USP Atlanta SHU, Special Housing Unit, among many disruptive inmates and prison gang members who have attempted to murder and assault me and continue to make threats of harm to my life as a result of my past cooperation with the government in a Mexican mafia investigation and assistance to SIS BOP authorities. SIS is Special Investigative Services. That is the prison. It's their own prison investigated units, like the FBI in prison. They have SIS, Special Investigative Services. So he's saying that he assisted the government in the Mexican mafia investigation and assistance in SIS BOP authorities here at the prison. See attached statement. In fact, the same assailant who attempted to kill me on August 8th, 2003, inmate Sonny Sanafil, is currently in a cell across from me and just recently was caught with 2 knives. Inmate manufactured weapons, which he had threatened me, stating that the knives had my name on them, meaning he has been waiting for the right opportunity for these officers to make a mistake and open my cell door so he can kill me. As a result of the attempted murder assault that has occurred on August 18, 2023, this inmate, per BOP policy, is supposed to be a BOP documented separatee inmate for my own safety. However, BOP officials continue to house me together with this inmate, the same assailant who attempted to kill me on August 18, 2003, which I reported to this honorable court. Additionally, I am also in with a known Mexican mafia member, Harlan Vargas, and co-defendant Eddie Ismael, both who are also supposed to be BOP documented separatee inmates for my own safety. I am not supposed to be housed at the same prison with these documented separatee inmates. Ground 2, and that was ground 1. Ground 2, deliberate indifference to substantial risk of serious harm in violation of the 14th Amendment to be free from violence at the hands of other inmates. He says, supporting facts. Therefore, BOP officials are not only deliberately placing my life in imminent danger around these separatee inmates who are trying to kill me, but they are also maliciously playing psychological games with my mind, causing me to suffer severe mental anguish and depression, paranoia, and fear for my life, all of which the BOP refuses to provide any type of psychiatric treatment and counseling session therapy for these mental ailments I suffer from while I'm housed in SHU, Special Housing Unit. According to their own psychologist, Mr. Duncan, this is a BOP policy for all inmates, and therefore to give any type of treatment, I must wait until I am transferred to a general population facility. While awaiting such a transfer, I am being forced to suffer against my will. Yeah, so that's one of the grounds. Now we're going to get to this really long stuff, but it kind of gives you an idea of the mindset of this dude that did this to Derek Chauvin. How this guy ended up in the same prison as Derek Chauvin is wild stuff. Wild stuff. He says, this is what he says. On December 9th, 2002, BOP officials here at USP Atlanta removed me from the general population and placed me in SHU for protection reasons. I first been placed in SHU on May 13th, 2002 for the same protective reasons. However, after a 6-month investigation, BOP officials have deemed that I was safe to return to the general population. On November 27, 2002, which was far from the truth. Bearing During their 6-month investigation, BOP officials were negligent in releasing a known co-defendant, Larry Cardontes, in the Mexican Mafia case, and therefore Cardontes knew all about my past cooperation with the government, that I have informed, snitched on him and his fellow gang members. With this knowledge, inmate Cardontes began spreading it around to the other inmates in the general population that I was a government snitch and that the Mexican Mafia has a murder contract out on my life. Prison officials had become aware of this threat on my life, in that prison gang members, inmates known as the Border Brothers, and their Southern Hispanic street gang members had been awaiting court documents verifying that I had in fact cooperated with the government so that they could plan to have me killed. Therefore, I was immediately removed from the general population and placed both in SHU, Special Housing Unit, for my own safety, while prison officials prepared the necessary paperwork to have me transferred to another facility where I could be placed in the general population. While awaiting this transfer for protection reasons in SHU, I was housed together with the same prison gang members who were trying to kill me via the administrative remedy process, and throughout any attorney of the record, I tried numerous times to make the BOP and prison officials aware that I am in fear of my life and to please expedite my transfer before I am murdered. I also requested to be placed on single cell status for my own safety, due to the fact that word was already traveling throughout the SHU that I was a snitch, and it would be only a matter of time before my cellmates tried to kill me. That's what he's saying. All to no avail. Prison officials persistently ignored any pleas for help and continued to deliberately place my life in peril. On August 19th, 2002, I had brought it to the prison staff's attention that I was in fear of my life and believed that my cellmates, white supremacist neo-Nazi gang members, inmates Brown, McCrae, and Black, were in the planning stages of causing me great bodily harm, as I was surrounded by prison gang members who were trying to get me to go out to the rec yard so they could kill me. And because I had been refusing, I knew they were putting my cellmates up to carrying out the murder contract on my life. Due to this information I have provided to staff, prison authorities had conducted a search of my cellmates and discovered in their possession an inmate manufactured ice pick style weapon, a handcuff key, and other dangerous contraband. Because of the seriousness of the situation, prison staff moved me to another cell in SHU for my own safety. Wow, right? This stuff is wild stuff, folks. Let's continue to read on. I was, let me take a drink real quick. He's making a lot of allegations. I was told the incident would be reported to the Southeast Regional Office of the BOP, explaining my assistance to prison authorities and the need to expedite my transfer for security reasons and safety reasons. Although for my own safety, I was moved to a different cell in SHU once again. I was far from being safe. It was only worsening. I was still being surrounded by prison gang members who knew of my past cooperation with the government and that I was now accused of assisting BOP authorities against my ex-cellmate Brown, McCrae, and Black. I guess his name is McCrae. His handwriting is awful, folks. Therefore, once again, I addressed my safety concerns to prison staff that I am in extreme danger and need to be placed on single cell status before I ended up murdered. Prison officials again ignored my pleas for help, stating that I was perfectly safe where I was housed. in the SHU, and that I had absolutely nothing to worry about because prison staff closely monitored the SHU. Inmates prior to calling them together, and therefore staff would not endanger my life by placing me in a cell with other potential threats of my safety. However, approximately 5 days from the above mentioned incident, and after giving numerous warnings that my life is in extreme danger, the longer I am housed here at USP Atlanta, on August 18, 2003, an attempted murder was carried out on my life by my then cellmate, Sonny Sonnabel, a documented gang member and one of the most violent inmates in the entire USP. All of which known to me at the time that this inmate posed a serious threat to my life. As a result of this stabbing assault, I was hospitalized for about a week. He's claiming he was stabbed himself by this violent inmate. I have not been interviewed by prison authorities or the FBI, nor have the United States Attorney's Office filed attempted murder charges against the assailant who tried to kill me. Although I have expressed a desire to press criminal charges, it is as if the BOP has swept the entire situation under the rug, like it never occurred. When I have all the evidence and statements by ranking prison officials to provide what happened to me was as a result of my past cooperation with the government and BOP officials. Yet, out of the cautionary over 24 months of being punished unjustly in SHU, the Southeast Regional Correctional Office of the BOP continues to violate my constitutional rights using stall tactics as a means to justify the long, extensive delay of transferring me to appropriate facility. Now, let's just stop a minute, folks, here. Oh, the irony in this situation. This same guy I'm reading about stabbed Derek Chauvin 26 times. He himself was stabbed when he was in USP Atlanta. And he's claiming he was hospitalized. This is coming out of his own handwriting. This is his claims. Oh, the irony, right? Oh, the irony. He wants to be transferred to another prison. He could be safely placed in the general population in another prison. Although paperwork has been submitted for state transfer, prison officials have informed me that it could take years for the Southeast Regional Office of the BOP to approve and have me transferred to the state prison system. This honorable court must not allow this unjust to continue. I have many different pleas to this honorable court seeking relief from cruel and unusual punishment that is being awfully bestowed upon where I am at USP Atlanta. On November 30th, 2004, the court responded by informing me that I wish to pursue any of the claims or requests that I have attempted to assert in previous correspondence. I should, in compliance with the rules, procedure forms, and something set forth in the attached 28 USC 2241 petition, which was assembled by the clerk, in which I appealed to this honorable court this day. Hereby, petitioner prays in the interest of justice that this honorable court put an immediate cease to the cruel and unusual punishment practices and deliberate indifference to substantial risk of serious harm at the hands of inmates here at USP by ordering, and he put it in capital, the director of the BOP, Harley Lappin, in the general counsel's office of the BOP to have me transferred from my present unlawful confinement here at USP Atlanta forthwith to the general population protective custody units, PCU, operated by the state of California Department of Corrections, CDC, where BOP officials can no longer maliciously plot all my life by placing me in imminent danger as all inmates housed within these general population custody units have either cooperated with government and or law enforcement agencies. I have, and therefore I will no longer have to worry about other inmates trying to kill me because I am a known government snitch for such a transfer with services to increase in general society. Some of his writing's off, folks. in compliance with, it's almost done. It's in compliance with the constitutional affordable rights that there is a justified reason that the BOP can articulate to this honorable court for punishing me and assisting me and my family life under which inhumane conditions where I have prison gang members trying to kill me while the Southeast Regional Director of the BOP continue to manipulate and come with excuses to delay my transfer. This is an outrage, and 24 months of this torture is enough. As this honorable court did not sentence me to death or to suffer any form of cruel, unusual punishment, subjecting me to all sorts of mental anguish and distress and physical harm, and should grant this petition in fairness before I end up murdered, or at least my sanity, waiting for BOP to transfer me. I also ask the court to please consider my response titled Defendant's Reply to the Government Status Report filed pursuant to the court's order May 2004 order. Respectfully submitted, and it's signed by him. He signed it. So what I did was just read this. What I read was this petition that this John Turscak guy filed with the courts way back in 2005. And he just lays out, let me just shrink it. He lays out, I have read all this, by the way, and it's freaking impossible to read, clearly. This was wild stuff. So what he's saying is he was in fear of his life because he was a government informant, and he was stabbed himself, and he went to the hospital for a week. But like I said, this guy I just read is the same dude that stabbed Derek Chauvin. So this happened in 2005, so we're talking 18 years later. 18 years later, the irony of him being stabbed and feeling like his life is in danger, he goes and takes it out on Derek Chauvin. Wild stuff, folks. Wild stuff. Derek Chauvin was stabbed 22 times by this guy. So we're trying to get into the insight of this guy's mind and who this guy is. It's a wild case, folks. They don't have this guy's mugshot at the time. I'm thinking the U.S. Marshal. Now, what I'm going to try to do, it'll probably be out by then. I think the Marshals will release this guy's mugshot. But what I'll try to do is I'll file a Freedom of Information Act request, trying to seek information about who this dude is. I'm just curious. You know, I can't believe that Derek Chauvin survived 22 times because they had to do life-saving measures on this guy. And this guy took an opportunity to get Derek. The irony is this. When you file your own 2241 petitions like this guy did in 2005, he's probably a law library guy. Actually, when I looked at the PACER system, he's filed other cases too. Federal cases. I haven't reviewed any of them yet, and I will. But this guy's probably a law library guy and then caught Derek Chauvin in the law library at Tucson. Every inmate there has the opportunity to go to the law library. We discussed the lack of security at these law libraries. It's usually just like one of these teacher assistants or, supervisor, not necessarily a guard, guarding. Where did he get the knife? Maybe made it. Sometimes these people hide things all over the place. It's interesting about prisons and how it works is they'll make a knife, and they'll make a bunch of knives, and they'll hide them all over strategic places, all over the prison. And if emergency comes, sometimes they bury it. Sometimes they find, like in the rec yard, holes in different areas or dirt, and they bury these knives. And then when things hit the fan and everything gets wild, they'll all run to the locations and dig them up and pull the knives out. Sometimes they hide them up in the ceilings of things, blend in different, deceptive ways to hide a knife, a shank. It's AKA a shank. But it's wild stuff about this guy, and I'll keep you guys all informed. His name is John Turscak. And at the time, he's 52. So when he wrote this habeas corpus petition, he himself was 42, 22, 25, 26. Or I'm sorry, 35. My math. In his 30s. So he's in 30s. He's at USP Atlanta. The prison that he was in USP Atlanta, I was there. It's myself. It's a pretty bad prison. It's a castle. It's on southern Atlanta, next to the railroad tracks. One thing I don't like about that prison is every hour you can hear the trains come, and you hear them at night. You're in your cell and you hear these trains come through at night. It always wakes you up. You can't really get in a dead sleep, or even if you are in a sleep, you hear them when you're dreaming. These trains that are coming through. It's like cargo trains. It's real wild because it's right by two gas stations in southern Atlanta. It's a big giant castle. But that's where that happened. So eventually he made his way to USP, from USP Atlanta to eventually FCI Tucson, where this guy was at, now in Tucson. So it's wild stuff. This is the type of atmosphere people are subjected to in the prison system. No one is safe in prison. You're on your toes 24/7, 365. You never know what's going to happen. And then also in Chauvin and these high profile cases, right? They're gunning. People are gunning for them. People want to make a name for themselves. I'm sure this guy maybe thought some sort of being famous. I'm the guy that could take Chauvin out. But now he's charged. Now he's charged with attempted murder. How much time can he get for that? For stabbing somebody 22 times? Well, think about the penalties. If you stabbed, or somebody on the street that got stabbed 22 times by somebody, you're looking at probably decades in prison, right? Even though you didn't even kill you, it's a life. But even if you just went up to a random person in society and stabbed them 22 times, you can expect to serve at least a couple decades in prison. Unless you're in Philadelphia, they let you go, right? Might give you a slap on the wrist. Joys of San Joaquin Valley. I bet Derek wishes he showed black Americans more respect and mercy now. He said something interesting too. Look what Chauvin said just a couple weeks prior. Let me tell you. He called the George Floyd trial a sham. He literally called it a sham because there's like a new there's a lot of in a new documentary, but he literally, like a couple weeks ago when his appeal got denied, he called the trial a sham. Derek Chauvin calls his George Floyd murder trial a sham in new documentary. And people have different opinions about that, but I don't think that was wise for him to do that. Especially him. I mean, if he might feel it was unjust, and a lot of people out there feel it's unjust, a lot of people feel like it was unjust. It's a very controversial topic, but in his best interest, I don't think he should have spoke up and just said, "Hey, this is a sham," because it probably does people wrong. It's just, you don't want to hear that, and it probably triggers someone. But probably was unrelated in reference to this John guy stabbing him. He just said that, he did it because he did it. Because actually he said Black Friday as a reason why he did it, which I found was crazy. What does Black Friday have to do with Black Lives Matter? Because that's what he said. He saw this as an opportunity on Black Friday and said he attacked Chauvin on the day because it was symbolic of the Black Lives Matter movement and the black hand symbol associated with the Mexican mafia. So that's kind of weird stuff. So I don't know. Amber said Nelson is a good lawyer, but this was a no-win political case. You guys have your different opinions on this. So I'll keep you guys informed. I'll get more information out of this from this John guy. As soon as I get a mugshot, I'll share with all of you. Thanks for watching. At least we get into the mindset of who this guy is. Always want to get backstories. That's how we roll on JLR Investigates. We get the backstories and we get things that other people don't necessarily talk about. Let's see if any media does any of their due diligence and research and figures out this dude, who he is, as far as his history and nature and characteristics. So I thank you guys for watching. Until next time, I'll be back. JLR Investigates. Everyone be safe. Talk to you later. Have a great day.